Okay, not really playing. Icon Bass, session bassist, their newest session bassist. And I've got a previous video on session bassist prime bass, so I'll leave a link in the description. Make sure you check that one out because I won't go through quite as many of the details in this one, but I want to point out some of my favorite features of this one and help you make that decision whether this one is right for you right now, or maybe you're watching this in a few months if there's a sale on or something like that. You're trying to see what you're getting with newest versions of Complete, stuff like that. This Icon bass, I can't say what kind of bass it's trying to imitate, but I think most of you will get it. My bass that I was playing is just an old knockoff that I've had since I was a teenager. And I used to play bass. I got a big old blister from trying to learn this slap bass thing that I just put together in this little idea. The thing with this instrument is if you're a bass player or if you're kind of a learning bass player, not only are you going to be able to get good bass lines for some of your songs, but you're also going to be able to use this as a really great learning tool. So before we get into any of it, let me just slow this right down and show you exactly what I mean. Right now we're at 112 beats per minute. And so to learn this, I pulled up some of the patterns and then just went like this. And learn that riff. So I can actually play this riff now. I wasn't just faking it. If you watch my fingers, they're actually pretty close to what's happening in this thing. But it's not going to be near as clean, and to have this kind of stuff in your arsenal already is pretty sweet. So that's my take on this one. We're going to look at a couple of the patterns and make sure you go and watch some of the other videos on this instrument, because you're going to be able to see if it's going to fit in with the genres that you make. And so the thing I'll say about genres too is that there's so many different ways to change the character of the sound, or to take the MIDI information from the sound and change it up for your project, that you're not confined to certain styles necessarily. So Native Instruments did send me the software to review, so I have an affiliate link in the description, but they don't have any say over what I say in the video itself. So if you want to help me out, click the affiliate link. I also have an affiliate link for the expansion sale, which is on right now, a really big deal, and have lots of videos on expansions as well. So let's have a look at some of the details of the Icon bass. And as I said, make sure this is right for you before you buy it. So as you see here, I've got a project set up. I've got some drums from Stylus, just some old sort of funky loops and percussion. And then I've got some brass in here that was by Session Horns Pro, one of my favorite virtual instruments that actually comes with different versions of Complete. I've also got Electric Mint. Let me change the name of that there. So this is Electric Mint. I've got a video on that one as well. Nice little wah thing. And then I've got an organ as well. And that's all coming together to sound like this. So let's dig into this bass just a little bit. One thing you should be aware of is these patches that have either the Icon bass or the Icon bass and a melody. The Icon bass is just going to be the loops. So you're going to have these loops that change with the tempo of your song. And then you have this other option, which is Icon bass and melody. And that has loops on a different set of key switches. And then it also has the ability to play just regular notes. If I play the C1, and if you play softly, you get a nice tone that isn't too aggressive, and you could use that for a ballad or something like that. We've got muted, but just have to press it once. Flageolet or harmonics. And then we've got the slap. So we can do the Seinfeld theme song. One of the things I do every single day is I pick up my bass and a bunch of other instruments, and I play my bass for about 30 seconds. I'm not even kidding. Just picking up the bass for 30 seconds, playing through some scales, playing Higher Ground by the Chili Peppers, and then I'm done with that instrument. I move on to my guitar, and I do something similar on my guitar. So I'm playing my bass every single day, and it means I could pick up the bass this morning and within an hour learn this part, right? So highly recommend that practicing thing. And I'm still going to make that practicing video. It's coming. But let's try some of these other loops. So now if I hold down the pattern, I get this first pattern. And then I can play an A. And then I play a different key switch. And then another key switch. and then back to the first loop. There, what I did is I took my fingers off, went and played a little riff, and then went back to the loop. But as soon as I take my finger off, so I take my finger off the key switch, then I can just play. So getting the coordination between those isn't really essential. You could just kind of program that stuff in afterwards in your DAW. So I'm going to switch over to the regular one that just has little loops. And all we've got is loops down here at the bottom. And you just click a loop, and now I play a note. So I don't have to hold down the key switch anymore. And as I said before, let's try a different loop. Okay, so there's a fun little groove, and let's say you like this groove, but you're not too stoked on the sound of the bass. You can go over to Sound Preset, and we can change this to any other of the tones that they've got already kind of configured, and then you can make your own as well. Direct. And then let's go to Clean. High Gain. And if we go over to Amps and Effects, we can see these amps and effects are on this patch. Let's change it to another patch. And we get totally different components that this signal is running through. So it's pretty obvious that you've got tons of variety in terms of the sound, which means that, you know, using these licks, you're sure you're going to have some of the same licks as somebody else, but you can totally change the tone of the bass. So you're really getting into some customizable territory here. And not only that, but you can always take a riff and go over to your pattern right here and see this little symbol right here. All we have to do is drag that and drop it onto our patch. And now we get the actual notes. Let's try this Toolbox 16th finger. This one's kind of neat. So we got... So let's try another intense one. Let's go to Hot Slap. And then let's try a different preset. So here you can really dial in your own tone for this. So let's take the pattern, drag this one onto the track. And let's take it up. This is really interesting because it's not, the notes aren't exactly lining up. What happens if we make this a major 7? You hear that works perfectly. So it's allowing me to go in and customize the notes and get specific with you know, certain chords and stuff like that. And that's probably something I should mention too. When you hold down a note in a pattern, so that's like going boom, bam, bam, boom, bam. So it's giving us like kind of a dominant 7 sort of sound. But what if we wanted a major 7 sound? Watch what happens when I play the pattern, but hold down a major 7 chord on the keyboard. That note in that pattern is now being pushed to the appropriate note in the chord that I want. So you're really not confined to these chord patterns that they've got in each actual loop. So it's going to fit to your song as long as you're holding down the chords. If you're not holding down the chords, it'll just do whatever the pattern is. Let's try minor. So you can hear the minor third in there. Watch what happens when I play major. So that note is in there as well. So that's what makes this thing so powerful, is the fact that it's going to fit to the chords of your song, and you can change the sound of the loops, you can change the tempo, And then you can even go in and refine the rhythm itself. Really great sounding basses in here, really great sounding loops, really nicely played. It's going to work perfectly for people who don't play bass, but again, as I say, you can also learn a lot from it. So I hope this was enough of a teaser for you to go and check into it a little bit more and go listen to some of the demos, listen to some of the patterns, and see if those kinds of patterns are going to fit into your productions, and then pick it up. But hit me up in the comments if you have any other questions about it, and make sure you click some of the links. I've got some other videos in there, like the prime bass one, where I go into a lot more detail on things like the swing in here, so you can go in and adjust the swing, and then of course all the other things like the effects and the EQ and all of that you can apply to each preset. Make sure you click that like and the subscribe and all that, and I'll see you in the next video.